This is how I made another mascot horror game. The first one I made went viral on YouTube, so after 6 months of procrastination, I'm finally making another one. Mascot horror is a game genre where the whole game is centered around a marketable mascot, which is usually trying to kill you in the game. These types of games specifically market towards children so they can sell their plushies, merchandise, and just get as much money as possible. So, because these other mascot games were so successful, I just had to ride the hype. For the second time, I've done this before. But having a mascot isn't the only thing that these games have in common. I've noticed a pattern between each of these games. In fact, I've counted 6 things that almost every mascot horror game has, and I'll be checking them off as I make the game. The 6 things that each mascot game needs are a marketable mascot, a giant facility, a basic game mechanic, simple puzzles, a cliffhanger ending, and most importantly, hidden lore. If I make sure to include all 6 of these, then the game will be a recipe for success. So let's actually start working on it. Let's start with a marketable mascot. I had to come up with really any sort of mascot creature that I could use. After some thinking, I eventually came up with an airplane mascot that I could use. I just had to figure out what to call him. I couldn't really come up with a name, so I just went to ChatGPT and asked for a couple names, and it came up with Propeller Pete. Finally, I have the mascot for the game. None of the actual game yet, but we'll get to that later. Now that I have Propeller Pete, I need to make a 3D model for him. So I fired up Blender and realized that I still don't know how to make 3D models. So I fired up Sketchfab and then searched for different plane models. I found this one that looked right, so I downloaded that, then fired up Blender and extended the wheels to make legs. I then realized that I didn't know how I was gonna make a plane mascot look good, but this looked alright enough. Then I exported him and uploaded the model to Mixamo, which is a site that auto-rigs and animates character models. I also use this for almost every game I make because I don't really want to make animations. I wasn't sure how this was going to work with a plane instead of a humanoid character, but I tried it anyways and it looks fine, I guess. I mean, who actually cares? So with this, I just needed to put him in the game, but I don't even have a setting yet. That's where the second rule of mascot games comes in, a giant facility. The game hadn't even started yet, so the first thing I needed was a setting. Almost every mascot game takes place in a huge catacomb-like facility, so what would my setting be? Well, the mascot for the game is an airplane, and the only place I can think of that is giant and relates to planes is an airport. An airport mascot game hasn't been done yet, so this setting would be unique, and it would fit the style of the game. So I went onto the Unreal Engine marketplace and looked for some airport asset packs. After searching for some time, I found this one that was $25. Because all the other airport packs were in the hundreds, I decided to buy this. So I imported it into Unreal, turned the lighting down, threw a pixel filter over it, and boom, there's my mascot horror setting. Okay, with this setting, I can import the Propeller Pete model and turn him into an actual enemy. His AI would work by finding a reachable radius around the player, then walking to that point and repeating. But if he sees the player, he'll start full sprinting towards you. So I took the AI from one of my other mascots, Gassy the Gasman, who had a similar system. Gassy the Gasman is from Basics and Intermediate Filmmaking, a game that you can buy on Steam today. Sorry, I just had to self-promo there. But after taking the Gassy the Gasman AI, I reskinned it and put the correct animations for Propeller Pete. Then I tweaked some settings and he's finished now. I mean, look at him go, violently sprinting at you with murderous intent. The only issue was that he is way faster than the player. I could just turn his speed up and call it a day, but then I had an idea. The third rule of the mascot games that I came up with is a basic mechanic that's used throughout the game. So I thought that I could kill 2 birds with one stone and make the mechanic the sprint bar. The player would have to continuously refill their sprint bar manually, but how would it actually work? I came up with the idea of vending machines that could be placed around the map, and the player would have to walk up to them and press E to recharge their sprint bar. This would make the game 10 times scarier because you couldn't just run away from Propeller Pete forever. Your sprint bar would deplete in just a few seconds until you find a vending machine. So then I fired up Blender again and threw a masterpiece of a 3D artwork, aka a cube with a vending machine texture on it, then exported it into Unreal and made it into a blueprint. Whenever the player enters this box collision, they can press E and refill their sprint. Then I just scattered them around the airport, and now the game has actual mechanics. However, it's still lacking in an objective. So far, you're just running around an airport trying to stay away from Propeller Pete. This is where the 4th rule of mascot horror comes in, puzzles. There's something about color-coded puzzles that always ends up in mascot games, so that's exactly what I had to do. I used these baggage claim models that were in the airport pack and turned them into blueprints. Then I made 6 different variants that I placed around the map. But what exactly are these baggage claims for? Well, my plan is to have the 6 different colors of the baggage claims correspond to 6 differently colored suitcases. The player will have to search the airport for suitcases and bring them to each baggage claim to complete the puzzle. So I fired up Sketchfab again and found 2 different suitcase models that I used for the different colors. I turned the suitcases into blueprints and split them into 6 colors. Then I hid them around the map for the player to find and made them able to be picked up. Instead of just having them disappear into your inventory when picked up, the luggage has to be physically carried to each baggage claim. I don't know why, but I've always preferred physics puzzles over anything else. Also, the bags spin once they're on the conveyors. A simple touch, but it looks cool.
What the hell?
Once you place each suitcase on its corresponding baggage claim, the door at the end of the airport opens, leading to a creepy escalator into the darkness. This leads to the ending of the game, but before that, I need to do something first. The 5th rule of mascot horror is hidden lore. This is one of the most important things in any mascot horror game. Lore is what drives the game's narrative. It reels the audience into the story, and it's what keeps the players wanting more. With the gameplay done, this is what I had to focus on now. So the story I came up with was that this airport is run by Kiwi Airlines, an airline company that was experimenting with different technology and created the mascot known as Propeller Pete. But this company's shut down, and after years of being closed, you finally decide to go back and see what happened. How exactly did the airport make Propeller Pete? Well, that's up to you guys to figure out, because if I just told you, it'd defeat the whole purpose. But anyways, I needed a way to tell the player the story, so I decided to do what every other mascot game does and put audio logs around the game. These audio logs would give clues about the story and would be scattered throughout the airport. To make the voiceovers for them, I fired up Microsoft Text-to-Speech and wrote some creepy lore lines and imported them into Unreal.
Please subscribe to Stopshot Games.
Then I put the audio tapes around the map. Most of them are easy to get to, but one of them is actually in a secret out of bounds area. If you want to find the secret audio tape, the download link is in the description. I won't spoil anything, but let's just say Game Theory is leaving retirement for this one. Oh, I also had my friend Goose Studios make a bunch of posters of Propeller Pete. He sent them to me and I put them all over the airport. Some of them are fun and lighthearted as you would expect a mascot to be, but some of them are darker and a little more mysterious, and others are just, I have bomb. So with the lore added, I finally had to make the ending. The 6th and final rule of mascot games is a cliffhanger ending to leave the players wanting more. So I created this level that happens right after you open the door in the airport. This level looks normal, but there's a mysterious audio tape on the table. What happens when you play it is shocking, but if you want to see what happens, the link to the game is in the description where you can download it for free. If I get to 50,000 subscribers, I'll make chapter 2 of Propeller Pete, so make sure to like and subscribe and comment if you want a chapter 2. Even though Propeller Pete is a pretty silly game, I had a fun time making it, and I had a good time making the setting, story, and gameplay of it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you really want to support me, you can become a member of my Patreon, where you can get access to exclusive content and devlogs. Anyways, make sure to recommend Propeller Pete to your favorite YouTuber and streamer to play. But hey, that's just a theory. A mascot game theory. Thanks for watching.